Yeah, I know. I'm a little late to make it for spooky season. At least for this one. Scheduling never was my forte. But I do recall in one of my last episodes, which also might have been a little late, that I had one more spookem story to tell. And by golly, I'm gonna do it. So just hold on to that Halloween spirit just a little longer for me. Dust off your costumes and get them back on. Let's take a look at a world where Naruto was a vampire. Welcome to the Amagi. Only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you are subscribed. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Now, a little bit of some ground rules first. We all know Naruto is a vampire, but what kind? There's a lot of vampires in pop culture, and some of them work differently from others. Some burn up in the sun, some don't. Some gain special abilities that others do not have. So which is Naruto gonna be? Well, for ease of understanding, we're going to assume that this Naruto is going to be born as a vampire in the style of Alucard from Hellsing. Why? Because Alucard was a badass, and the abilities that come with being that kind of vampire will make this story even more interesting to tell. So now let's get to it, shall we? How did this happen? That's the question you may find yourself asking. Who turned Naruto? Was he born this way? Well, this happened a very, very long time ago, after the birth and death of his parents. The desperation of life, the hopelessness of being possessed by a demon fox so much greater than you. It was going to escape. Minato just had to put the whole thing inside of Naruto. Not his brightest moment. What should have been at least split in half between himself and Naruto was now all shoved into this baby. A baby's body on the verge of breaking. Hopelessness. A child not even old enough to understand was now facing the concept of death. The seal not strong enough, and that's when, out of the blue, something began to happen. Blood had been spilt this night, the blood of his parents, and as the pool of crimson liquid lingered around the child, the sticky substance began to move, drawing closer, as if death itself had taken pity on the child and was now offering it a way out. Now, this child was but an hour old. How could it know what it was signing on to? It didn't even recognize that it was signing on to anything. Its refusal to fight back, inability, really, was taken as acceptance by whatever spirit moved the blood. And in that moment, under the pale moonlight, the blood entered the child's body. A curse descending from the night. A hunger and desire, but also a power. One that bent the Ninetales' very soul to his will. The Ninetales within felt its very body and soul merging onto this being, a pair of eyes staring back at it. Eyes like the infant's, yet far older, shrouded in darkness, commanding the fox's loyalty. And Kurama, unable to resist this dark magic, just as he never could resist the Sharingan, obeyed. In agreeing with the child, he felt a liberation, the feeling that he was free somehow, even though he was all the more a prisoner. The child slept peacefully in the forest, surrounded by blood, soon thereafter to be found by Hiruzen, who would note the seal on its abdomen slowly fading. He knew what it meant. For a time, Hiruzen had others take care of the child, but the child, after about a few months, began to steadily grow weaker. Sickly. Panic began to set in. Naruto was taken to a hospital where so many attempts to help him failed. They couldn't detect any sicknesses. Only upon testing his blood did they find that he had a lower iron count, lower everything count. Worrying that he may be suffering from some blood disease, they did the best they could to give him a transfusion. Naruto immediately recovered. They could not detect a reason why his blood may be slowly spoiling, but continued to give him blood over the next few years. Further, Naruto cried whenever he entered the sun. They believed he might have a severe allergy or photosensitivity, his skin being extremely sensitive to ultraviolet radiation. They jokingly called him a vampire, not yet knowing how right they were. What seemed to be a whole bunch of odd medical conditions at once covered up for the fact that Naruto was in fact a vampire. After all, none believed in the existence of such a creature, yet here he was, existing right under their noses. With these two issues solved, Naruto began to live a normal life. But as he grew and became more and more consciously aware of himself, he automatically knew that there was something different about him. He didn't have a word for it until he looked it up out of curiosity. While many claimed he was sick, deeply, subconsciously, instinctually, he knew that he wasn't. He was perfectly healthy. He had advantages even. These advantages merely possessed a cost: vampirism. There were a lot more traits to this that Naruto had that nobody else took into account, such as the lengthening of incisors that sharpened into tools of draining. Vampire. That's what he was, like the old stories from the far-off lands to the west. Beings who subsisted off of blood, had an aversion to sunlight, and possessed a potent and dark spiritual power. Realizing that his taste for blood on the tongue was necessary, he realized soon after that whether the blood was going through his lips or through an IV drip, so long as he was intaking blood, he was healthy. But the fear that his exposure might attract the wrong crowds, a crowd that already hated him, he decided to be a bit more careful about letting people know of his illness, and so he would sneak blood every so often. When visiting the hospital, he learned where they stored the blood. He would steal a small cooler filled with it when nobody was looking. This was how Naruto realized that his ability to manipulate the shadows came in handy. To a greater extent than even the Nara, he could manipulate the shadows, become the shadows, and by will alone he could transform himself into anything he desired, as though utilizing some ninjutsu. With the use of these unique abilities, Naruto would steal all the blood he would ever need, all while others began to think he was completely healed of his illness. And as for the sun, well, he was still sensitive to that, so he kept the jacket on at all times and wore sunglasses. But he sucked it up, really. This was the best he could do. The more blood he drank, the more often he drank it, and the more he realized that his weakness could be mitigated. He had incredible regeneration, and so long as he remained healthy, his body's weakness to sunlight would remain nothing more than an inconvenience. Now, if he were deprived of blood and he didn't get a chance to use his regenerative powers, then the sun really would mess him up. But as it stood, it wasn't that bad. At a young age, Naruto entered the Ninja Academy of the Hidden Leaf. Why did he do it? Was it because he wanted to be respected? Wanted to be the Hokage? Or was it some primal urge to become a dog of war? To bathe in the blood of his enemies? Well, I'll let you all decide that on your own. But Naruto joined the academy where he mostly kept to himself. Other kids didn't really like Naruto, and that was okay, because Naruto didn't really like the other kids either. What couldn't be denied, however, was Naruto's unique abilities, often confused for ninjutsu. Upon displaying them, it was clear that Naruto had the goods. He would be quickly accepted as a genin and placed on Team 7, where he would proceed to do the work appointed to him. But of course, such menial work was nothing more than a drag to him. Letting out a sigh, Naruto knew there was more to being a shinobi than this. Maybe Sakura was pleased doing this little work and calling herself a shinobi, but this was a waste of time for someone with greater skills, and Naruto knew that Sasuke felt the same. And so he came to Sasuke during a break and spoke. "Hey Sasuke." The boy looked up from the book he was reading to Naruto. Kneeling down, Naruto took his sunglasses off, his piercing eyes digging right into Sasuke's soul. "I was thinking, you and I are on a different level than most genin." Sasuke sat there silently, looking at Naruto. Naruto smiled. "We deserve a bit more, don't you think? Sitting here and doing nothing but the same work is what's often done by non-ninja. It feels like a waste of our talents. And so long as we don't get to show off what we can do, nobody will ever know." "Where are you going with this?" Sasuke asked. "Well, if we're not given proper missions, all we'll ever be viewed as is genin, and all we'll ever be allowed to do is genin stuff. All we'll ever have access to is genin resources. No ninjutsu or training benefits, no limit pushers, just literal walks in the park. Don't you think we deserve a bit more?" Sasuke thought about it. Naruto spoke. "Next time we get a mission briefing, why don't you back me up with Hiruzen? We'll petition a new mission, one that's actually worthy of us. What do you say?" Sasuke thought about it for a moment before nodding his head. The next day, they approached Hiruzen, unbeknownst to Kakashi, who was rather surprised to see them both approach the Hokage. "Naruto, Sasuke?" Kakashi questioned. Ignoring him, Naruto once more removed his glasses and let his deep red eyes look into Hiruzen's as he spoke. "We're just genin, but we don't even get the chance to do what other genin do. We're hoping you'd give us a better mission, one that allows us to prove ourselves," Naruto said. "I second his opinion, sir," Sasuke said. Hiruzen looked between them and then back to Naruto, whose gaze caught him again. As though his mouth were about to fall open, Hiruzen couldn't break eye contact. "Why don't you give us a better mission, Lord Third?" Naruto said, his voice soothing and convincing as if it were the voice within Hiruzen's own head. "It doesn't have to be too big, but a little more exciting than trash duty." Hiruzen blinked a bit and rubbed his eyes. "I suppose I could scrounge something up for you if you want." "Kids, don't bother the Hokage like that," Kakashi said. Naruto and Sasuke looked back at Kakashi. The gaze Naruto gave him sent an unexplainable shiver down his spine. Hiruzen seemed to jerk for a moment before speaking. "No worries, Kakashi. I've been meaning to give someone this mission for a while, and if your team is volunteering, I'd be glad to get it off my desk," he said. And that was how Team 7 got the Land of Waves mission. For the most part, the mission was going well until the Demon Brothers attacked. It was then that Kakashi knew that they were in for a lot more than just a simple mission to and from a village. From here, Kakashi attempted to turn the thing around and take them all home, but Naruto insisted upon continuing. Nobody could say no to Naruto. After this, they were stopped by Zabuza. Kakashi attempted to do all the fighting, but when Zabuza got the better of him, it was left to Sasuke and Naruto to drive the swordsman back, which wasn't all that hard. Their only objective was to get Zabuza to move his hand off of that water orb, and doing that wasn't as hard as it seemed. Not for a duo like Naruto and Sasuke. When Zabuza was driven off, they would move on to the Land of Waves. However, this was where Naruto faced his first real issue, and that was that this place was surrounded by moving water. Now, it's a little known thing about vampires, especially the younger and weaker ones, they can't cross moving water. And being that they need to take a boat ride secretly to this island, Naruto, unaware of his weakness, loses all bodily functions. At first, it presented itself as a weakness by the waterfront, but the moment they actually passed onto the water, it became something more akin to a seizure. Naruto fell into the water and was there submerged, left paralyzed by the flowing liquid. As he watched the wretched sunlight pass from his view, he no longer felt its burning radiance on his skin. But all the same, he would have taken that over this any time. He wondered if it would kill him. He had heard that vampires were practically immortal, and that nothing could kill them save a few things. But even then, stories of vampires always had them coming back. It was hard to kill something already considered dead. These were the ways mortality crossed Naruto's mind. It wasn't the same as a normal human. Instead of thinking if this were the end, there was almost a twisted excitement of wondering if there could even be an end. But before he could find out the answer, a shadow swam down to him and pulled him back to the surface. All things considered, he still couldn't move, so they loaded him into the boat and held him down before moving themselves closer to the village. Once they were on the other shore, Naruto straightened out. Kakashi and Tazuna insisted that Naruto see a doctor about this, but Naruto refused, saying it was unnecessary and that he would see one when they returned to Konoha. For the most part, Naruto wouldn't have to pass by flowing water for quite some time. As Naruto contemplated his abilities a bit more, along with their weaknesses, he only then began to realize just how cracked he was. A genjutsu so strong that even the Sharingan was helpless to it. He could convince anyone of anything, do anything. He began to wonder how far he could push this. Looking to Sakura as she fawned over Sasuke, he had always wished that she would look at him the same way. And so, during the night, as they all trained by Kakashi's command, Naruto's powers were at their fullest. He was easily able to accomplish the feats Kakashi commanded of him, walking up the vertical surface of a tree, even going so far as to hang upside down from it like a bat. Sakura was able to do this too, but Sasuke had a much harder time. As she watched Sasuke try and fail, she offered him her support. Naruto, standing by a tree, went to take his glasses off out of habit, forgetting that they were already off. His glowing eyes as red as the blood pumping through his trembling heart, questioning if this could work, he spoke with as much charisma as he could. "Hey," he said. "What's up, Naruto?" she said, not taking her eyes off of Sasuke. "I was just thinking about you," he said. For the first time, she turned to look at him, and in that moment, her eyes met his. It was as if some perfect spark lit up. His eyes, in most cases, were normally so intimidating, but now they were inviting, beautiful, the most handsome eyes she had ever seen. "Thinking about me?" she questioned. Naruto nodded, offering a shy, small, boyish smile. I don't know if I've ever mentioned it before, and I suppose I'm a little scared. I just wanted to tell you that I have a crush on you," he said. "A crush on me?" she questioned. He nodded. Kneeling down to her, he spoke. "Can't you feel it between us? The draw, like the moon's gravity on the sea. Our synergy's perfect. Our hearts beat in time with each other," he said. The look on her face showed some form of hypnosis on it. He offered a smirk. "It's working," he thought. "I was thinking maybe we should test this feeling," he said. "A simple kiss, just to see where it takes us," he said, pressing his lips to hers. A moment later, his bell was rung when a fist collided with his temple, smashing his head against the tree. For a second, he was confused. Blinking a few times, he looked up and saw that Sakura's face was twisted in disgust, her fist clenched. "I don't recall saying you could do that," she said. Naruto was startled, speechless. His suggestion hadn't worked. How did she resist? She didn't even have a dojutsu. Naruto was working overdrive to find the next thing to say. As a moment passed and he got his bearings, he spoke. "Sorry, I got carried away," he said, pulling back. "I guess I thought you felt the same. I won't do it again." Sakura turned to look back towards Sasuke. "It's fine, just don't do it again," she said. Naruto pulled back. As he walked away, he felt a bit embarrassed, but more than anything, he was confused as how Sakura of all people could resist it. She wasn't strong, she didn't have any special abilities others didn't have. It was confusing to him that he couldn't cast her under his spell, and strangely enough, it was as though his own spell was cast on himself, because somehow he wanted her all the more. But now was not the time to focus on that. He wanted to experiment, and even if it wasn't the answer he wanted, he did find something interesting. He now knew that there were some limits to his power, and that was a healthy thing, because only when he knew his own limits could he push them. The next day, they were to guard the bridge workers, but Naruto found himself unable to join them. Getting to the bridge, he stopped, unable to move. "You coming, Naruto?" Kakashi asked. Looking down at the bridge, he realized why it was there. This bridge was designed to create a pathway from one side of the shore to another. Naruto couldn't step onto the bridge because of that, because it went across moving water. Even putting just one foot on the bridge, he felt his entire body begin to jerk and buckle. Pulling back, he spoke, "I'm gonna defend this part of the bridge. Make sure nobody unauthorized gets on." Kakashi nodded his head in understanding. Good plan. The issue with this plan was that it didn't stop Haku and Zabuza from showing up. What it did do was stop him from getting in the way of their attacks, and stopped him from helping Sasuke. At the moment Sasuke went down, he knew that he couldn't provide backup. So he did the best he could think to do and called the Sakura and Tazuna, telling them to run towards him. Tazuna did just as Naruto said, but Sakura didn't. She merely approached Sasuke and fell to her knees. Haku began to approach him. Due to the haze coming off the water, the sun's direct rays were stifled. Taking his glasses off, he handed them to Tazuna. Naruto's piercing red eyes began to follow Haku's steps. The moment he got off the bridge, Naruto knew all bets were off. "I'd suggest leaving now while you still can," Naruto said. "I could recommend the same," Haku responded. Naruto would pull a kunai and without another word would charge in to attack. Naruto and Haku's blades crossed. Naruto's speed was incredible, near supernatural, as was his strength. Haku was not as physically strong as Naruto, but he was fast. Haku attempted to use the demonic mirroring ice crystals technique on Naruto, but the moment that the mirrors formed and Haku sank into one, it became clear to him that something was wrong. None of the mirrors held Naruto's image, and when Haku disappeared into one, there was no way for him to see Naruto. Relying on the reflection of Naruto through the mirror to see him at all, Haku was left unable to pinpoint Naruto's location, so all of his strikes were off the mark. As soon as Haku would enter the mirror, Naruto would move. Haku attempted to guess Naruto's movements, but Naruto's inhuman speed seemed to get in the way. Somehow, Naruto was dodging all the attacks, and at worst, he was just eating them. He'd take Senbon, but no damage would be done. At least, nothing long-lasting. Naruto would just pull it out as though it did absolutely nothing to him. Naruto's physiology was befuddling to Haku. In the end, Haku attempted to exit the mirror and just attacked Naruto straight on. Using his own incredible speed, he rushed at Naruto, punching a hole through him with a kunai. Naruto, at first, seemed as though he were in pain, but slowly, a hot feeling could be felt by Haku. A burning feeling. It was as if molten blood were flowing through and across the wound, dragging Haku deeper. Naruto's vampiric instincts took over, and in a moment, one hand gripped Haku's left arm, pulling down and away, ripping it out of socket. All the while, Naruto's other hand gripped Haku by the hair and pulling to the side, exposing the neck. Naruto's teeth dug into the carotid artery. The force of the blood pumping through was intense. Biting through it, he began to suck Haku dry of every last drop of crimson life force. As he did, he felt the life leaving Haku. Haku fell to the ground as Naruto's body healed. Naruto began to realize he could and had taken the powers of Haku. Tazuna was shocked by what he saw. Naruto, looking back with blood on his mouth, raised a finger to his lips. "Shh," he commanded. At about that time, Kakashi finished off Zabuza. Looking back at Sasuke, Naruto saw how Sakura cried over him. That was until his finger twitched and she noticed life still in him, even if faint. Naruto began to understand what was happening here, why he couldn't control her. She already had something far stronger in her than Naruto's hypnotic suggestion. She was in love with Sasuke, and that meant that she couldn't be swayed by Naruto to love anyone else. Lucky bastard, doesn't know how good he's got it. Casting her aside as though she means nothing, and here I am, dying for her, and she doesn't even notice me. When Gato's men showed up to finish the job, they were surprised to see that Kakashi was more than capable of fending them all off with his shadow clone jutsu. With that, the bridge's last hazard was bypassed, and with its completion, the last nail in the coffin of Gato's criminal empire was driven. Their mission complete, they headed back to Konoha. Getting back to the village, they were found to be skilled enough to enter the Chunin exams, which were to begin in the village soon enough. As they went home, Naruto couldn't help but think about Sakura again. Normally, Naruto wouldn't think twice about her, but all of a sudden, he couldn't stop thinking about her. He had to have her. He needed her. Why was it? Was it because she was the only thing in the world he couldn't have? He began to go over his options. How could he ever convince her that he was a better idea than Sasuke? Could he do such a thing? How did you steal a heart when it was already stolen by somebody else? These questions Naruto pondered all the way into the Chunin exams. With the first test, Naruto was tasked with answering all the questions on a test. This was easy peasy for him. With his newly formed techniques, he realized that he could easily cloak himself. Coating himself in a thin veil of demonic mirroring ice crystals, like a one-way mirror, he found that he could make himself invisible. The only thing people could see would be the reflections and refractions of the mirror, and if Naruto had no reflection, then there was nothing to refract, meaning there was no way to see him. Especially if the ice was so thin, it was basically paper. It was trickier than it seemed to do this, needing a good bit of adjustments, but he eventually managed to do so properly without anyone seeing. From there, he could get up and walk around freely without anyone seeing. He could cheat and find the right answers quickly. He would then turn off the mirroring when he finished the test. Then came the final question, which the proctor, Ibiki Marino, told them would pass or fail them, stating that if they got it wrong, they forfeited their chances of ever being a Chunin again. Naruto lowered his glasses and looked at Marino straight in the eyes. "You can't do that," he said. Marino scoffed and spoke. "Wanna bet?" Naruto was confused. His suggestion received no pushback. It was as if it were already accepted, yet the words Marino said were so defiant, unusual as normally such people would be forced to agree with him. Was this because Marino was trained to resist such forms of suggestion? Was he immune to Naruto's gaze for some reason, like Sakura? This was more interesting than it seemed for Naruto. Now he couldn't back out. He needed to know if Marino was actually going to do it. He needed to know if Marino was resistant to his gaze, or if it was simply that Marino was lying. And if it was the former, he needed to know how and why. So he took that question. His answer came soon after when Marino informed them that by choosing to take the question, they had answered it correctly. Ah, so that's what it was. He couldn't do it and he knew it. The only ones holding us back were ourselves. I couldn't convince him he was wrong because he already knew that what he was saying was a lie. Therefore, there was no resistance or change. No effect because nothing needed to be affected. Good to know. Moving on to the Forest of Death, everything was going well until Orochimaru showed up on the scene. Orochimaru was a tough fellow, far stronger and more skilled than Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura put together. However, there was a kindred spirit between Naruto and Orochimaru, as both were actively seeking at this point to steal the abilities of others. Orochimaru would manage to brand Sasuke as usual, but his pacification of Naruto didn't go as smoothly as it would originally. No, Naruto's resistance to Orochimaru's killing intent was already impressive, but the fact that he possessed such a potent killing intent of his own, on top of the fact that Naruto just ate whole attacks like they didn't matter, felt like playing a video game with someone using cheats. Nothing he could do could keep Naruto down, and that was upsetting to Orochimaru, but intriguing too. Having discovered someone else as interesting as Sasuke, Orochimaru decided to leave, allowing Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura some respite. All the same, he would send his allies, Team Dosu, to collect Sasuke. Of course, Orochimaru knew this wouldn't work. Not with Naruto there, but he was more interested in seeing what Naruto could do with them. And so, as they surrounded Team 7, it was Naruto who stepped out to face them. "I'd tell you to run now, out of a sense of fair play, but honestly, I'd be lying if I didn't want you to stay," he told them. Dosu, the head of the team, spoke. "The sentiment is shared. We were told to go get Sasuke, but nobody ever said we couldn't play with you a little before doing so." Naruto smiled. "Well, I'm right here, alone. Sakura's there tending to Sasuke, so I'm by myself. Feel free to attack this defenseless young man you see before you." Team Dosu began to spread around Naruto as he stood there. Naruto was getting excited. In a flash, the four moved, jumping through the air, clashing about. Kin threw Senbon at Naruto, only for Naruto to summon from the darkness a Senbon of his own to counter it. "Please tell me you have some other tricks. I don't like getting shafted on my gacha pulls." Throwing her Senbon out, they had bells attached to them. Those bells would ring, causing Naruto pain. As he hit the ground, he began to hallucinate, seeing more than one of his adversary. Naruto smiled. "Cute trick, but it won't work on me. I can smell you, and none of your little hallucinations have a smell to them." "We'll see about that," she said. Her clones began to run at Naruto and attack him, only for Naruto not to move at all. After all, only one of them could actually connect. When the real Kin, nestled in with the rest of her hallucinations, attempted a jumping kick, Naruto grabbed her foot with one hand, drawing terror from Kin as she realized that Naruto wasn't lying. Naruto twisted just a bit before smashing his fist into her knee, breaking the cap and bending the whole joint out of shape. Letting her fall, Zaku and Dosu would come in for a dual attack, hoping to avenge their comrade. Naruto caught their attacks as well. However, he was unaware of Dosu's ability, which vibrated his inner ear and caused vertigo. Naruto jumped away and tried to shake it off. Feeling sick to his stomach, he lowered to a knee to recover as the two boys drew closer, pressing what they felt was an advantage. However, Naruto quickly recovered and now knew to avoid that gauntlet. Zaku would open his hands as Naruto drew closer in and attempted firing a shockwave to knock him back, but Naruto dodged it. "Very interesting abilities you have there. I think I'll take them for myself," he said. Using a jutsu to create clones of himself to confuse his opponents, he swarmed them. They couldn't tell which was real. "Zaku, be careful. Any of these could be actually real," Dosu called out. "Zaku?" Looking back, he saw Naruto already draining Zaku dry from the throat. Letting him fall, he clenched his hands and began to feel through the power. Interesting ability. Holding his hand out, a hollow pipe opened up in Naruto's hand, which then fired a shockwave at Dosu, knocking him back. The clones approached Dosu and surrounded him again, taunting him. He fought wildly, attempting to escape, but in the end, he was also drained of life. Finally, there was Kin, still nursing her ruined knee. As Naruto drew closer, she began to panic, tears dripping down her face helplessly, staring into doom and terror. He spoke. "Are you scared?" Naruto knelt down over her. Taking his hand, he gripped her chin. Pushing it left and right, he examined her face. "I wonder what the limits of my powers are." With that, she let out a squelch of terror and closed her eyes, her whole body shaking. Naruto scoffed. "Are you scared of me? Do you want mercy?" "Please, don't kill me," she said. "You bring upon yourself only the death delivered by your own master." She opened her eyes wide. Naruto nodded. "That's right. You think I don't know? I absorbed their life essence. I saw everything they saw. I know you work for Orochimaru." "Please, I beg you, let me live and I'll never go back," she said. Naruto nodded empathetically. "Are you sure about that?" She nodded. "Please, I won't serve Orochimaru anymore." Naruto smiled. "You're right. You won't serve Orochimaru any longer, because you'll serve me instead." Biting into her neck, she let out a cry. A sudden cold ran over her as she felt the grip of death grab her, but instead of dragging her down into the ground, it lifted her up. Pulling away from her, he stood. As Kin reached for her neck, her entire body vibrated with a new strength, her leg even regenerating before her very eyes. Standing with Naruto's help, she looked into her new master's eyes and was filled only with the deepest infatuation and admiration possible. As if her entire life were wasted up until this point. As if she were born for this moment. "What may I do to serve you, master?" she asked. "Give me your scroll," he said. She offered to him her own scroll, which would allow their team to pass this second test. Naruto looked at it and then turned back to her. He had complete command over her. It was true, a vampire could turn someone. She too now was a vampire under Naruto's thrall, a servant of him, ever loyal, unflinching. He smiled. "Go in there and help Sakura carry Sasuke. We're leaving." And from that, they left for the tower in the center of the forest where the third test would take place. Due to Kin no longer having a team, she was now out of the exams, but that did not mean she was far from Naruto. Orochimaru watched all of this with surprise. The fact Naruto could do such a thing. Was it possible that Naruto was one of those legendary creatures? Ones whose will to live had summoned within them an unnatural inhumanity. This had been something Orochimaru studied for years, but had found no specimens yet living to pass on the knowledge or abilities. In some ways, Orochimaru began to crave Naruto as much, if not more, than Sasuke, as Naruto could serve to complete his own imperfect immortal jutsus. But alas, all things came in order, and there was a priority. Orochimaru needed Sasuke first, a strong body to jump to that could more easily subdue Naruto. From here, the third round of the Chunin exams kicked off, and Naruto breezed through the preliminaries easily with the power he had attained. As the month off came around, Naruto continued to experiment. Kintsuchi was a loyal servant and willing to do anything for him. He wondered if there were others he could do this to. What would it take? Finding Rock Lee in the hospital, Naruto would offer him a deal, telling him he would fix his wound and help him attain his dreams, and all he asked in return was that Lee show his loyalty. Lee, unaware of what this entailed, would agree. Naruto would begin the process of turning Lee into a vampire as well, but was shocked when he learned that he had instead turned into something more akin to a zombie. What had gone wrong? Why had it worked on Kin and not Lee? Was it because Kin was a girl and Lee was a boy? That should be the only real difference. Naruto realized his limits and let out a sigh. "Kin, destroy him," he said as he looked away, contemplating this issue. There had to be a reason for this. Kin would destroy Lee's body down to the very last cell. As Naruto studied, he learned the truth in one old book that insinuated that the first vampire could only create vassals if the target met two criteria. One being if they yet maintained their chastened purity, and if they were of the opposite gender to the vampire to be set as their master. Lee was a male, like Naruto, which meant he did not fit all criteria. This information was valuable, so Naruto was sure to remember it. When the second round of the exams began, Naruto once again passed with flying colors. But during Sasuke's round, an attack occurred on the Hokage's viewing box, and Gaara fled. Electing to follow after him, Naruto, along with Sasuke and Sakura, would engage Gaara, and in the end, it was Naruto who brought Gaara down, and absorbed his powers too. Naruto absorbed not only Gaara's power, but that of Shukaku as well. Oh wow, he had a lot of power, Naruto would say, manipulating sand around him. He was hiding all of this during the exams, he questioned. Returning to Konoha, they helped survey the damages. Konoha had been wrecked, really bad, and the Hokage was dead. Jiraiya was sent to find Tsunade to become the next Hokage, but she refused and instead Danzo was placed as the next. But during this time, Sasuke, realizing that he was never going to be able to grow as fast as he would like in Konoha, decided to join Orochimaru. That night, as he was getting ready to leave, Sakura caught him and threatened to tell everyone, but he put her to sleep instead. Making his way to the gate though, Sasuke stopped when he saw Kintsuchi in the way, now sporting a Konoha headband, having defected to the Leaf in exchange for giving up all information she had on Orochimaru and the locations of his bases. "Get out of the way, Kin," Sasuke said. "Going somewhere, Sasuke?" Naruto asked. Sasuke turned around and saw Naruto standing there. Sasuke remained silent. Naruto looked back at Sakura and then back to Sasuke again and spoke. "You know, I always wondered what it was she saw in you. Why was it that Sakura loved you so much? And why couldn't she see that same thing in me? I still don't know what it is that draws her to you, but what I know is, it's real." "Back off, Naruto. You don't know what you're talking about." Naruto shook his head. "No, see, I do know what I'm talking about. You're an ungrateful little bastard who has everything I could have ever wanted served to you on a silver platter, and you're literally walking away from it all. No, that's not gonna fly." Sasuke began reaching for a kunai in his pouch, but suddenly a pillar of sand rose up and bound Sasuke in place. Sasuke struggled to break free, but couldn't. Naruto approached him. "I don't know what it is about you that Sakura adores, but I want it. I want whatever it is, and I'll take it. Since you've already set your mind to leave this village and betray not only it, but me and her, then I guess that means I'm free to execute you however I see fit. And I think I know exactly how." Pushing Sasuke's head back, Naruto began to drain Sasuke of his blood. Once he had done so, he used his earth release to bury the body into the dirt path that Sasuke had stood over. With Sasuke absorbed, Naruto now had not only all of Sasuke's skills and memories, but even his Sharingan. "Let's hope these eyes of yours allow her to see in me the same thing she saw in you," he said as Sasuke's head disappeared beneath the surface of the road. Naruto turned back and looked at Sakura, still unconscious on the bench. Walking to her, he knelt down beside her and smiled as he pushed the hair from her face. Offering a kiss to the side of her cheek, he spoke. "You're mine now, Sakura." Lifting her head in the most gentle way he had ever done, he dug his teeth into her neck, draining her of her own lifeblood and replacing it with that of his own infected blood. "Today, you call me your master, but soon you will accept me as your one and only true love." And that's where I'm gonna call it for the day. I hope you enjoyed this story. Just one more spooky tale before we officially call it quits on Halloween. As I'm sure many of you can tell, I'm a rather big fan of Hellsing. Nothing beats a gunslinger in red, and frankly, Alucard is the coolest. That lanky figure has a silhouette I would know anywhere. And his guns, my soul, those were my first love. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the story. If you did, be sure to let me know in the comments below what your favorite part was and what you might like to see in the future. Don't forget to like and subscribe, ring the bell to be notified when our next video drops, and check out these other great videos from our channel. Until next time, peace out.